Feelings of uncertainty, confusion, and insecurity will abound between Wednesday, November 6th and Tuesday, November 12th as Venus squares Neptune. Considering it coincides with the election week in the United States, it's that much more important. Let's take a closer look and break it down for all 12 signs. My name is Anastasia. I'm a traditional Western astrologer specializing in natal, relationship, and predictive readings. If you enjoy my work, please take a few seconds to show your support by leaving a like, a comment, subscribing, and pressing that notification bell. If you've been here for a while and you've been supporting me for a long time, thank you so much for being here. Before we dive in, if you're looking for personal guidance, you have questions only a consultation with a professional astrologer will answer, do not hesitate to book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. I have just gotten back from being away a whole month. I was away in October. I went to Nepal and got my yoga teacher training, which was amazing and difficult and great all at the same time. But I am back and I am taking clients and doing readings again. So if you'd like guidance, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. On there, you can also find my 2025 astrology planner. It is beautiful and it is highly functional. I created it to help myself navigate the year and tell what transits are happening, which days are lucky and benevolent versus which days are challenging, help myself set intentions. The year is almost over. We are in November, so it's a great time to pick one up for yourself or treat a friend. Get it as a gift for somebody you love. Additionally, Mercury is about to station retrograde, so I highly recommend my Mercury in Virgo, Mercury in Gemini, Mercury Kazemi candles, anything Mercury to help you stay focused, stay concise, clear, and precise in your communication, because as we know by now quite well that Mercury retrograde can mess up the wires, get us tangled up in our thoughts and in our communication and bring a lot of conflicts, misunderstandings, and challenges. So Mercury oils and candles to the rescue. Highly recommend. So let's talk about Venus squaring Neptune, right? Venus is the goddess of love and connection. She rules over beauty, creativity, and relationships. And she is trying always, her goal is to bring things and people together, right? In a perfect Venusian storyline, we are in a magnificent, impressive setting surrounded by birds singing. We're drinking our favorite drink. We're eating our favorite meal. We are next to people we love. We have a lot of adoration and admiration. So when Neptune comes, Neptune being the planet of dreams, ideals, illusions, and at times delusions, you can get a sense of that energy being boosted, right? So on the positive, when Venus squares Neptune, there is a chance of powerful inspiration, right? So creatively, you might get this magical idea that is not grounded in reality, but is inspired and powerful, and it takes you places. Romantically, it can also suggest that you are more prone to see things through rose-colored glasses. This is a square. We have Venus squaring Neptune, and squares are a tense aspect. When two planets are in a square, it means they are combating. So Neptune will bring that fascination and expansion of the desires and dreams, but it can also bring a sense of like confusion and things not being grounded and things being unclear, right? So if we're talking about love, we're talking about falling in love with someone, you might see their idealized version. You might see what they want you to see. You might get sort of caught in the fairy tale. So be really wary around this time in terms of committing and saying yes to things. And when it comes to signing contracts, and you know, to mention politics for a second, I try to stay away from it, but it's an important period in the history of the country. But I think having Venus squaring Neptune on the week of the election might suggest a certain element of confusion, right? Which is not completely unexpected, but there might be a lack of clarity. There might be a sense of uncertainty for a while with this election. So other things, other symptoms of this aspect are insecurity, feeling insecure, feeling doubtful and undervaluing yourself is quite likely. So try to take good care of yourself, lean into self-care, and choose people and choose connections and choose relationships that are tried and true. People you've been with, people you know you can trust. So, so you're more safe that way. Do not avoid at this time overspending, overindulging, making sort of risky choices, signing, once again, contracts that look too good to be true, saying yes to things. I would warn you against drinking too much, especially, a couple of days leading up to it, November 7th, 8th, the day of the transit, 9th, and then 10th and 11th. Like, it is more likely that if you go out and have this great time, you might wake up and see all of your money disappear or something else. So it's best to be careful. This, like I said, this transit is active between Wednesday, November 6th and Tuesday, November 12th. Venus enters Capricorn on the 11th, so on Monday, and you might actually start to feel this energy dissipating pretty rapidly after that, but I did give it 3-degree orb on each side. So November 12th is definitely the final day you might feel it. It's happening at 27 degrees, 21 minutes of the mutable signs. So Venus is a 27-21 Sagittarius when she squares Neptune, and Neptune is a 27-21 Pisces. And so you're more likely to feel this transit and be potentially in danger if you have planets between 24 and 29 degrees mutable signs, specifically Sagittarius, Pisces, Gemini, and Virgo. Be extra careful. And if you're noticing this transit already, please let me know how it's affecting you. Even more of a reason to pick up my Mercury in Virgo candle, considering Mercury is in Sagittarius, it's in its detriment in Sagittarius, it's going to be retrograding in the sign of its detriment. So if you're seeking clarity, if you need help with communication and decision making, Mercury in Virgo too is the way to go. So let's take a look at the 12 signs to see what this might be unraveling, digging up, bringing up for you, and where do you need to be extra careful. And before that, as always, if you're looking to book a reading with me, now is a great time. We can talk about the year coming up. We can talk about 2025 and see how it might affect you. 2025 is a very transitional year full of important changes and developments. So if you are an Aries rising, Venus is currently in your 9th house. She will square Neptune in the 12th. This could present as some type of subconscious, hidden challenge that you were not aware of, or your own self-defeating tendency, your own negative belief, your own kind of escapist pattern showing up in your life and specifically affecting your travel plans, affecting your education, your relationship with your classmates potentially, and maybe even your sense of self, right? Like I think Neptune in the 12th and a square to Venus in the 9th, like you had a beautiful getaway planned and something falls through at your job and you feel so badly about yourself that you cancel the getaway. So this could be your opportunity to examine your beliefs and your guiding principles and perhaps sort through them and get rid of some negative self-doubt, things like that. You might also be finding yourself involved in ideological battles right now and maybe quite likely sort of fighting for something you don't know everything about. I would warn you against that because Venus is in the 9th house. She's in Sagittarius. She's very passionate, very feisty, very maybe determined, right? And Neptune in the 12th creates that sense of like self-doubt, but also confusion, uncertainty, lack of clarity. It's foggy. but yet you still feel passionate to sort of battle it out. So watch out for sort of, ask yourself, what is it you're fighting for and what is important, because you might be at odds with people you love, fighting about something that is not as important as your relationship with them. As always, if you're looking for more, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com, and let's talk about 2025, what it has in store for you and how it might affect you. If you are a Taurus rising, Venus is currently in your 9th house. She will square Neptune in the 11th. And here the issue relates to money, resources, and agreements you have with other people. With Neptune in the 11th, there might be some type of expectations that your friends have of you, or people you belong with, people the community you are a part of, right? Like there might be, with Neptune in the 11th, there might be some kind of sense of they expect something from you, they want you to sacrifice things for them. There might be a lot of kind of confusion around who owes what to whom, and maybe, like I said, some kind of unspoken desires that people and expectations people project on you. Maybe you are a content creator and they feel like you owe them something, right? Like you owe them content every week or whatever, and you've been away and you haven't been doing it. So as well as relationships with a friend, maybe a friend owes you money and you've been telling them that it's okay, and they haven't been taking it seriously, and now you're getting to a point where you're actually really frustrated. Or if we're talking about Neptune in the 11th, some kind of a dream that is inspiring you, but maybe you have to be realistic about what kind of resources you have, what kind of flexibility you have, what is possible versus what is imaginary. Be very careful at this time in terms of signing contracts, in terms of negotiations, in terms of agreeing to things, getting loans, taking out some kind of a loan that looks really perfect, but maybe it's not quite as glittery as it seems. If you're looking for guidance and you want to know what 2025 has in store for you, book a year ahead reading with me and we can dive into all the little details and discuss what's coming up for you, and pick up my 2025 planner to help you get prepared. If you are a Gemini rising, Venus in your 7th house squares Neptune in the 10th. And here you have some kind of visible or invisible, confusing tension between your sector of relationships and your career house, right? So Venus in the 7th really wants to connect. It wants to go on a date. Let's say you want to go on a date with your spouse, or you want to spend time with people you love, right? Like you want to start a partnership with someone. It could be your nanny, it could be your brother, like some type of desire for unity and connection in relationships. And the square to Neptune in the 10th represents that there is maybe some type of like self-sacrificial, unclear, confusing entanglement you have to your career, right? Like if we're talking about a partnership with, maybe it's a business partnership. Neptune in the 10th might be your old boss that is expecting you to be there for them, or your current boss, right? Some type of tension between the dream of a partnership and the ties you have to a job. Some kind of confusing expectation, right? Where you are going on vacation with your significant other and your boss is being like, yeah, we'll be in touch when you're away. And you're like, yeah, but I'm gonna be on vacation. I don't want to be in touch. So some type of like confusion. Maybe you're working really crazy hours and that is affecting your relationship, or there's poor boundaries when it comes to work that you need to address, and use this challenging transit as an opportunity to sort through things and make things better. And if you're looking for guidance, you want to know what year ahead has in store for you, or you want me to answer relationship questions, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com, and definitely pick up my Mercury in Virgo 2 candle. It's perfect for the upcoming Mercury retrograde at the end of this month. Now, if you are the lovely Cancer rising, Venus in the 6th house will square Neptune in the 9th. And here you're dealing with tension involving your work, involving your everyday life, involving health matters that come out of some type of confusing interaction with foreign people, maybe confusing matters involving education, law, writing, publishing. Let's say you're working on a project, right? And you're expecting other people to give you answers, or you're expecting some kind of information coming from them and they're not being clear. Maybe they're sending you something, but it's not very easy to understand. There might also be an overall sense of uncertainty about your path, right? Like Neptune in the 9th is maybe a sense of like, what is a true dream that is worth following versus what is just an illusion, right? Like, have you been pursuing something that hasn't quite panned out and now you need to pivot and you need to... These two are very interesting houses because 6th house is the house of like practicality, groundedness, everyday realism, things that can be done, things that have to be done. And the 9th house is the house of journeys and expectations and desires. And so you might be trying to marry the two, trying to figure out how the two fit together, and maybe asking some important questions about education, about travel, about relocating to another place, about writing, publishing, and just like I said, overall sense of self-understanding. If you're looking for more, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. We can take a look at your year coming up, your relationship or your natal chart, and definitely pick up my 2025 astrology planner. The year is almost over, and this could be a beautiful and practical tool to help make your year better. If you are the lovely Leo rising, Venus in your 5th house is going to square Neptune in the 8th. And here you have Venus in her house joy, really wants to have fun, go out, party, make love, spend time with kids, make kids, have kids, become a parent, right? In a square to Neptune in the 8th, in a square to something is not quite clear with your finances. Maybe you want to go out, but you have a debt you have to pay. You want to become a parent, but you are, once again, not ready. Something is tying you down. Something is holding you back. So this is a very much like interesting opportunity to examine, where are you overspending? Where are you avoiding things? Where are you being escapist? It's also a great opportunity to have clear, direct, honest conversations with your significant other or your business partner about the future goals, and try to get on the same page, try to come to an agreement, and not be afraid to perhaps not get everything you want, because sometimes you don't get the things you want, but you get the things you need. As always, if you're looking for more, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. I'd be happy to look at your year coming up, talk about your relationship, and more. And I highly recommend my Mercury in Virgo 2 candle for the upcoming Mercury retrograde. I rely on this candle quite a lot to help with writing, speech, clarity, etc. If you are a Virgo rising, Venus in your 4th house will square Neptune in the 7th, and you may have issues in the home, challenges involving your living situation, involving family, that stem from the confusion connected to relationships. Let's say you just got engaged, right? Or let's say your partner gets a job promotion that requires them to move. And so now you have to move, right? Or like, regardless if it's an engagement or if it's partner getting a promotion, something is changing in your home, something is changing in your family, and it might stir some confusion there. It might create a sense of uncertainty. It might also be, honestly, the time when you are examining your relationship and looking at your relationship and your childhood, looking at your relationship and your perhaps early examples of love between your parents and how that affected you. So both, I think, opportunities to clear familial dynamics and heal, as well as rethink where you live, who you are. There might also be some tensions between your family and your partner's family, or your family and your partner, or you and your partner's family, right? There might be some kind of disagreements, misunderstandings, miscommunications, and a sense of uncertainty. This could also just be very much like Venus in the fourth is excited to have Thanksgiving dinner in your home, and Neptune in the seventh, your partner is waiting to hear from their family and to tell them. And if they tell the partner, let's say that they want him to come, let's say it's a he, basically he's not giving you all the information and you're relying on them, and it creates a sense of stress. So communicate openly, try to be honest and direct and figure things out. If you're looking for personal guidance, you want to know what 2025 is going to be like for you, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. For the lovely Libra risings, Venus in the third house will square Neptune in the sixth. This feels like some kind of communication issue. This feels like you have a plan, you have a desire to enjoy your time out, connect with a sibling, go out with a neighbor, maybe even work on a fun new project, and then your workload is not letting you. Or there is a very confusing health issue that is slowing you down and is maybe even creating a sense of lethargy and tiredness and just overall lull. And please share if that is the case. As a Libra rising myself, considering I just got back from Nepal, I've been feeling super jet lagged and dealing with some stomach issues that are not super clear as well. So that's about me. But yeah, share how it's affecting you as always. I think, whatever it is, if it's a miscommunication, if it's a scheduling issue, if it's a work boundaries or health situation, this is going to be your opportunity to clear things and to maybe set better boundaries and to let go of some commitments that are dragging you down, right? But I think it could be very frustrating in the moment, but then bring more understanding eventually. If you're looking for personal guidance, you want to know what 2025 has in store for you, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have. And pick up my 2025 planner. I put a lot of love into this. I created it to help myself, and I think it could be a magical, useful tool for you as well. If you are the lovely Scorpio rising, Venus in your second house squares Neptune in the fifth, and you're having some kind of confusion, uncertainty, maybe disagreement involving children, involving pleasure, and involving romance. Venus in the second, maybe you are ready to spend on something, or you want to invest into something, or you want to start a savings account. It could be about money for sure, but then the square to Neptune in the fifth, you disagree with your partner, or your child needs a loan, and so you're giving them some kind of money. It could be your opportunity to examine your self-sacrificial tendencies and perhaps your desire to please with Neptune in the fifth. How honest you are versus how accommodating you are is the question, I think. And maybe boundaries with children, if you have older children, right? And Venus in the second, your values, your goals, and a square to Neptune in the fifth, maybe the child is expecting too much of you, and it's the time to be clear. You may literally be dealing with, money matters, paying off debts, dealing with loans. And I can also see the square to Neptune in the fifth, as some kind of a bad habit, yours, or maybe your significant others, or maybe your child, costing you money. And some type of situation where you need to try and transform it, right? And figure out better ways to manage resources. If you're looking for more, book a reading at anastasiaastrology.com. I'd be happy to look at your year coming up, talk about your relationship and more. You can find all of that on my website, and you can also find my products, candles and oils. Highly recommend Mercury in Virgo candles and oils for the upcoming Mercury retrograde to help create more clarity and avoid miscommunications and pitfalls that are sometimes so common with Mercury retrograde. If you are the beautiful Sagittarius rising, Venus in your first house will square Neptune in the fourth. And here you have tensions, confusion, insecurity involving home, family, and your living situation, cramping your style and messing with your joy and your flow. Venus in the first wants to be the star. She's beautiful, she's charming, and so she's inspiring you to maybe take care of yourself, to explore your creativity, to start new projects, to start new relationships. And then the square to Neptune in the fourth, maybe you literally have a fun date planned out, but you feel insecure about where you live. Or you feel insecure about who you live with, right? Or there is some type of complex you have around your past, around your childhood, around your family that is getting revealed to you. There might also be family duties and family commitments that are affecting your plans. Maybe some kind of tendency to sacrifice for the family or put the family first, or the tendency to not have really good boundaries with the family might become more apparent at this time. So of course, this is your invitation to be honest, be clear, and try to eliminate any unfortunate and unnecessary commitments. If you're looking for more, you'd like to know what 2025 has in store for you, book a reading at anastasiaastrology.com. We can also talk about your relationship or your natal chart or anything else your heart desires. If you are a Capricorn rising, Venus in your 12th house is squaring Neptune in the 3rd house. And here you have Venus in the 12th, which is a desire to date someone quietly, maybe give a relationship another round, like someone from your past, or a desire to get away, a desire to retreat, desire to also work on a creative project, do something that is good for your mental health, that creates more peace in your life, in conflict with your schedule, with your everyday life, with the demands of your siblings, demands of your neighbors, expectations other people have of you. Maybe some kind of miscommunication, right? Where you, in your head, you've decided that you're spending this day by yourself, but then somebody calls you and they're like, we've agreed to meet. And so confusion is quite possible, right? And tension, miscommunications, misunderstandings are quite likely, but it doesn't have to be like something really dramatic. It can also just be your opportunity to examine things and to maybe clear your schedule and to communicate more honestly and to figure out a way to do better next time, because it's not like this is the last opportunity you have to relax. If you're looking for personal guidance and you'd like to know what 2025 has in store for you, book a reading at anastasiaastrology.com. I'd be happy to talk about your relationship, your year ahead, your natal chart, and so much more. Now, if you are the lovely Aquarius rising, Venus in your 11th house squares Neptune in the 2nd house. So here we have Venus in the 11th, which is the desire to go out, desire to connect, desire to be a part of the group, desire to shine on social media and maybe like sort of connect with other people in a whole variety of ways. And Neptune in the 2nd is either a lack of resources or confusion around resources. Maybe you have all these beautiful plans, but Neptune in the 2nd suggests that your resources have already been allocated and you don't have as much flexibility. It could also be a sign of needing to maybe kind of bring back your spendings in control, because sometimes Neptune in the second might also suggest that there are poor boundaries and you've actually been spending money that you don't have, or committing to things that you don't have time or energy to, right? Like second house is not always just money. It can also be about your time or your priorities. So here you're having to become more honest about your priorities, about your values, about your resources, and maybe in the process say no to some social engagements, or also I think very much figure out which relationships are draining for your soul, your mind, your soul, your pocket, right? Because there's also a possibility that Venus in the 11th square Neptune in the second could bring up some kind of money issues between you and your friends. Maybe somebody has been owing you money and they're not being serious about paying it back. So be honest, be direct, be clear, and you will get through it. And if you're looking for more, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. I'd be happy to analyze your chart, talk about your year coming up, your relationship, and so much more. Last but not least, if you are the lovely Pisces rising, Venus in your 10th house will square Neptune in the first. And here I wonder, how do you limit yourself? How do you stand in your own way? Where do you tend to put yourself in the corner? Nobody puts baby in the corner. But where do you tend to be your own sort of enemy, and where do you have poor boundaries? And how do those things affect your career? Because Venus in the 10th square Neptune in the first could literally be like your boss comes in and they tell you there is this great project and it might result in promotion, and it squares Neptune in the first, and your humility, your excessive humility kicks in, and your self-doubt kicks in, and you say that somebody else would be better for the job. Or, you know, maybe there is some type of situation that reveals where you're being too escapist and too avoidant, or you don't take good care of yourself, and maybe it's a valid concern that you don't have time or resources or ability to be taking care of this project. But then what does it reveal to you? What do you need to change? Where do you need to take better care of yourself, right? Like Venus in the 10th square Neptune in the first can be very much the time when you are being forced to look at how you take care of your body, how you handle stress, how committed you are to sort of improving your life, and perhaps make better choices, make healthy, constructive decisions that will bring you front and center next time the opportunity presents itself. Please share how this resonates, and if you're looking for more, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. It's a great time to reach out and to talk about 2025 and everything it has in store for you, as well as pick up my 2025 astrology planner, which could be a useful, helpful tool when it comes to navigating your year coming up. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. This is my first video back from Nepal, and I'm excited. I'm starting slowly with just one at a time. And I hope you have a good week, and I hope this transit doesn't affect things too much for you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.